Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, and this is our fourth segment. You know what that means. I guess I got too many songs going on at the same time, but we'll get caught up here in a minute. Okay, here it comes.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Today's Legacy Spotlight is dedicated to my mom, Karen Marquardt.
She's got a marked up King James heart of gold. Got too much on her plate, but never lets it show. And she put her blood, sweat, and tears into raising me, and maybe a little more. Thank the Lord, that's what mamas are for.
That was a clip from Chris Lane. That's what mamas are for. And just in case the song played too fast for you, I'll repeat it in honor of my mom. She's got a marked up King James heart of gold. Got too much on her plate, but never lets it show. And she put her blood, sweat, and tears into raising me, and maybe a little more. Thank the Lord, that's what mamas are for. My mom was a faithful Christian, a conservative woman who believed in traditional family roles. She loved her children and grandchildren unconditionally. She was a single mom who woke up early, worked a full day, and cooked a homemade dinner from scratch after work. So God bless all the mothers out there, and God bless all of us who are missing ours. Okay, so we have a new sponsor, but our old sponsor is Marquardt Law Firm. Thank you, Marquardt Law Firm, for sponsoring our show today in part. Attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. New businesses and old businesses which might have issues with corporations, contracts, LLCs, family limited partnerships, and we can represent those who are facing problems from lack of planning, like in guardianships, probate, business disputes, breach of contract, real estate disputes, and so forth. Next week, hopefully we'll be talking about an elder law topic, because the month of May is Elder Law Month or Senior Older Americans Month. The government has a program for that, of course, and so stay tuned for that. I want to thank you, as always, for joining me on Talk Law Radio. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can watch the videos in smaller bits and pieces. We break it down into 4 segments, whereas this show is about an hour long. And if you subscribe and click the little bell symbol, then you can get notifications that we've posted a new video. We also have tiny short videos that take up less time than that. Those are usually around 30 seconds or a minute. And you might get interested in some topic and then go to the full version of that segment or the full version of that show. Okay, I wanted to mention our new sponsor again, Financial HQ. Are you looking for true financial planning to help you make the best decisions about your money? Instead of trying to sell you overly complicated financial products, Financial HQ focuses on creating comprehensive strategies that give you and your family the highest probability of achieving your goals. For a complimentary consultation with Joseph at Financial Planning HQ, call 210-748-6699. That's 210-748-6699. With a plan? Yes, you can. And I had Joseph on the show a few weeks ago. we talked about money and banking. And so if you're interested in that, go back to that show. You can find it on Facebook or YouTube. Okay, let's talk more about immigration. I mentioned that this Texas government is sending immigrants to Washington, D.C. on a bus. And then I also learned that the governor said he has established a new unit called the Texas Tactical Border Force, which includes Black Hawk helicopters, C-130 planes, and specially trained National Guard members to respond to an influx of illegal immigration. Abbott said they are trained to intercept, to repel, and turn back migrants who are trying to enter Texas illegally. Something else that's interesting is the San Antonio Express News reported that there were planes deporting immigrants on repatriation flights, and apparently this was going on before just a couple of days when the Title 42 expired, because the people that were on that flight, about 100 people, had already been here for a while. They said they wouldn't say how long they had been here, but they had been here longer than 2 days probably. And this particular plane was going back to Colombia. So I didn't know about that. That's interesting. I'm glad that San Antonio Express News was reporting that. Okay, so just to recap, we've been talking about immigration, Title 42, and the memorandum. Let's go back to the memorandum. Let me see if I can find that here. Memorandum. The memorandum explains that Center for Border Patrol would exercise parole authority under the policy when there are conditions requiring expeditious processing of aliens in exigent circumstances in order to ensure appropriate and safe conditions for the health and safety of the individual aliens in custody. And so I've used that word alien a couple of times. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's because that's a defined legal term in the federal code. And so I did want to define that. Let me go back just a bit so that we're all on the same page. There's it's just a defined term that means that somebody's here without authorization. Well, I'll have to talk about that some other day. I'm having trouble finding it. So we talked about immigration, Title 42, the memorandum, the court opinion that said that the federal government could not use that memorandum to simply parole people without a court date, without processing them, without questioning them. That would just, because it's not a regulation that was approved, it didn't go through the approval process, didn't go through the notice to the public process that all regulations have to go through. We talked about property taxes. I think this is an area where if you own real estate, whether it's your home or your rental property or your business building, it behooves you to protest and prove that maybe the county is valuing your property too high, because this is one of the secret ways of raising revenue without raising the tax rate, is just to say that your home and your property is valued more than it was last year. And you may or may not think that that's a fair way of being taxed. So you can protest on your own, online, or you can mail a form in, or you can go down to their office And I would assume that there's lots of traffic on the phone lines and in front of their building on Monday, so you might be able to get that done on the internet, online, on the county appraisal website, just to get your protest in the system, and then you'll have some time to get your evidence to prove that the market value of your property is lower than they say it is. And of course, they'll present you their evidence that shows that your property is valuable. And there's different ways that you can find a market value by paying a real estate appraisal company, or by finding a realtor to do a market analysis comparable to sales. Looks like we have a call, but maybe we have time for that? We should probably take that call some other time. Thank you for calling. Sorry, the show's about to end, but I'm glad that there's interest in this area. Just want to say thank you to the listeners and the callers today. Thank you to former judge and board-certified attorney Aaron Haas for explaining the complicated regulations and statutes regarding filing for asylum and becoming a refugee that's protected. If I was in another country, I think I'd probably want to be here too. But there's so many people that want that, there has to be an orderly process, and we have one. So I think it should be followed until the government changes it. If you have problems with the current immigration policy, call your congressman in Washington, call your senator in Washington, and tell them that you want immigration reform, or tell them that you like the statutes and laws and regulations the way that they are. Just weigh in, because that's how a democratic republic works. They represent us, and we have to tell them what we want. We also talked about gender modification for children. If you have comments about that, you would want to talk to your state legislature, your state representative, about whether or not you want that to pass or not. So this is Talk Law Radio. Had a good show today, and we'll have a good show next week, probably something about elder law. And then I have a special guest at the end of the month that's going to be talking to us about how he beat the odds in business and in life. I'll keep that a surprise for you. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.